All right, ladies, here we go. We're back, and I think I fixed the sound issue. So today we're going to do homework examples for 3-2, 3-3, and 3-4. Don't forget to start off with your summary of what all we talked about in class today and an understanding check of how you feel before seeing the video examples. All right, so to get us started, let's talk about an example from 3.2, which would be solving inequalities with addition or subtraction. And our example for this is going to be t plus 6 greater than negative 4. So remember, when you're solving inequalities, it's very similar to solving equations. So you want to isolate your variable by doing your inverse operation. In this case, we're adding 6 to t, so the inverse of that would be subtracting 6 from t. That way the 6 goes away. Don't forget, if you do it on one side, you need to do it on the other side, and that gives you t greater than negative 10. Please remember that you are only switching your sign if you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number. We're adding and subtracting, so we are not switching at all. All right, so no switching here. Even though there is a negative, we're not multiplying or dividing by that negative, so we leave it as is. And then don't forget, if we wanted to graph this, we would have our negative 10, negative 9, negative 11. It's going to be an open dot at negative 10 and all numbers less than negative 10. So we're going to color towards the negative 11. And remember, you could check that by putting in the negative 11. Is negative 11 less than negative 10? Yes. Yes, it is. All right. So moving on to section 3.3, which would be solving inequalities with multiplication and division. Oops. Let's just do our times or division. Our example here is going to be negative 9y less than or equal to 63. And again, to isolate our variable, we're going to undo the multiplication, which is divide by negative 9 on both sides. Notice, this time we are multiplying or dividing by negative 9, so I need to switch my sign automatically before I go through and write my answer. If you don't do it then, you might forget. So 63 divided by negative 9 is negative 7, so you must switch your sign in this one. Okay? And then if we're going to graph this, again, we have negative 7, negative 6, negative 8, and I'm going to put a closed dot this time, right, because we're less than or equal to, sorry, greater than or equal to, and we're going to, oops, I accidentally erased that, color towards the negative 6, and shade on that side, because negative 6 is indeed bigger than negative 7. Okay. All right. The last two examples are going to be from 3-4, which is solving multi-step inequalities. And we're going to start with 6n minus 1 greater than 3n plus 8. So basically variables on both sides. So again, remember, just like in a multi-step equation, we want to get all of our variables on one side and all of our numbers on the other. So I'm going to subtract 3n on both sides. And remember, I'm choosing 3n because then I'll end up with a positive coefficient for my n. So 6n minus 3n is 3n. And I'm not changing my sign because I'm only adding and subtracting now. Same thing when I add 1 to get the 3n by itself. Again, no switching. Divide by 3. And I get n is greater than 3. Notice I divided and I divided by a positive number. So again, no switching here. Okay. Let's go ahead and graph this one. So I have 3, 4, 2. Open dot because it's just greater than, and greater than 3 is this way towards the 4. Color that in on that side. All right, last one, still 3-4, solving multi-step inequations. This one we're going to have a set of parentheses, so we're going to have to distribute. So I have 3 times the quantity t plus 1 minus 4t greater than or equal to negative 5. So first step here is to distribute. 3t plus 3 minus 4t greater than or equal to negative 5. Then you'll want to combine your like terms, positive 3t, negative 4t. Remember, they're on the same side of the equation. So when you combine them, use their signs that are already there. So that's going to give me negative t plus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 5. Subtract my 3 on both sides. Negative t is greater than or equal to negative 8. Now I got to divide by negative 1 to get rid of that negative sign in front of my t. And when I do that, I need to switch my sign for this equation because I'm dividing by a negative number. So we switch there and we get t is greater than, less than or equal to 8. And lastly, to graph that, I have 8, 7, 9, close dot, less than or equal to, and we're coloring towards the 7 because 7 is less than or equal to 8. Okay? All right. So to finish up, go ahead and give a little check on how you're feeling on solving inequalities, including switching your signs when you're dividing or multiplying by a negative number. And we will take our quiz next class.